Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. I hope it's true. So my talk this morning is the Power Walk. But before that, I just want to say thank you so much for having me here. I was here about 4 years ago, we worked out, that I'd spent 10 days in the California, San Francisco area and stopped here on my way through. We did a Wednesday night service, we did mudras and hand prayer positions, and I hung out on Fillmore Street so I could go back and tell everybody there's a Fillmore Street in California, which is where the Fillmores really wanted to set up Unity Village, but they just didn't. Anyway, so that was about 4 years ago, so I was just really delighted to be invited back and into your space and into your sanctuary, just to feel your energy, so thank you very much. So the Power Walk. I'm a power walker myself. That's how I do my exercise, through power walking and yoga and things like that. So the other love I have is walking the labyrinth. And we have a labyrinth out at Unity Village. I used to love walking and dancing in when I was a ministerial student. Oh yes. You can sashay your way around the labyrinth. So everybody know what a labyrinth is? It's a prayer path that's not, it looks like a maze, but it's not a maze. It's taking you into the center. And the thing about the labyrinth is it's a metaphor for life. It mirrors life. You walk in and there's a rosette center in some of the forms. The one at Unity Village has a rosette and 4 quadrants. And as you walk in, you just follow the path and it will take you to the center. But sometimes when you're walking around the side and you think you're almost on the edge of leaving, you realize that you actually just started one circuit and you've got more to go. Yeah, life is like that. You're going through something and just when you think it's over, there's another corner to turn. But you do eventually get to the center, and the center is the place where you just stop and hold the space and give your prayer, your dedication, whatever it is, and then you walk back out. So my love for power walking and my love for the labyrinth, well, not the power walking so much, but the labyrinth. When I do retreats at Unity Village, I always include a labyrinth walk. What I tell people, because we have people come to retreats of all stages of life and things going on in their life physically, so what we tell people is there are many ways that you can participate in this activity. You can stay in the sanctuary and hold the space with us if you feel that you're not able to walk this, 3/4 of a mile walk. Or you can come down to the labyrinth and they have some benches around the side, so come down and sit around the side and hold the space. Or if you feel that you can make it into the labyrinth, you do the first walk in, you get to the rosette, but you just feel like you don't have the energy, the strength, or the inclination to complete the return journey, then just walk out. It's okay, just walk across and then take your seat around the edge and hold the space with us. Or you can complete the entire walk. So you see there are options, right? Well, last September I had the honor of leading a prayer retreat during World Day of Prayer. Every other year they have an English-speaking prayer retreat, and I was able to facilitate the prayer experience. So what I decided was that we were going to go into the silence really early in our process as an intentional getting ready and preparing for the week ahead and for World Day of Prayer, which would be happening on the Thursday. So they just got there on Sunday night, we had Monday, and then we went into the silence. Dunk-dunk, dunk. So we went into the silence, and then on Tuesday had our labyrinth walk. Now in the retreat group was a woman called Marion. And Marion had a physical disability that she needed to walk with a cane, and she walked extremely slowly. But she was very strong and very determined in her demeanor. Didn't like to accept help at all. Like if you were in the cafeteria and offered to carry her tray, she's like, no, I've got it. And she would just take her time and walk to the table with her tray and her cane over her arm. So when we were going for this walk on Tuesday, I and most everyone else in the group assumed that Marion would stay and hold the space in the sanctuary. But Marion wanted to walk the labyrinth. So she came down very slowly. I mean, by the time we lined up at the entrance, she was still making her way to the labyrinth. So we assumed that Marion would sit on one of the benches and hold the space. Marion wanted to walk the labyrinth. So she came to the entrance, joined us, and we walked our way in. I lead it in, and then take us into the center, and then come back out. There are some trees around, but they're very sparse-leaved trees, so it's not much shelter. And it was a sweltering hot September day. This is all good background information for where we're going on this power walk. So by the time Marion got down, she was one of the last ones in, and then 4 other people came behind her. So while Marion is doing the walk at a really slow pace, there are 4 people waiting for her to walk the labyrinth. And the sun is beating down, and it's very hot. Anyway, the rest of us come out, and these 5 people are still in the labyrinth, 4 behind Marion. And they're in the silence, remember? So I'm making eye contact. Are you okay? She gives me the thumbs up. But as she walks, she mops her brow. She stops. These 4 people stop behind her. Gets hold of her cane, shakes a little, but she goes around, stops, takes a breath, wipes her brow. So this went on. Ordinarily, a labyrinth walk with a group that big would probably take about 40 minutes with all the ritual that people like to do in the labyrinth, and then we come out and form a circle around. It was 45 minutes just to get in with Marion doing this walk. Some people were too hot to wait around the edge like we usually do for everybody to come out and form a circle. So some people went back to the sanctuary to wait there. Other people started to form around the side and had an anxiety panic attack as they watched Marion do her walk. Is she going to make it? Is she okay? Should she be even doing this? All these thoughts rolling through people's heads. Marion looked up, and she read the anxiety on their faces, and then you see her muttering something under her breath. She's supposed to be in the silence, but she starts muttering. She does the walk. When the 4 people came around, I indicated to them, if you want to pass her, it's okay. And they all said, no, we want to support her, indicating through sign language. We want to support her. They told me after that's what they were indicating. But we got the message. So picture this. Marion is now in the labyrinth on her way out. She did not want to walk across and take a seat. She wanted to finish the entire walk. And these 4 people decided to follow her out. It's really hot. We're waiting around the side, and now we're cheering her on. We're doing the sign language for, you're doing great, well done. And she appreciated it as she walked and shaked, stopped, and mopped her brow, looked up, and muttered some more. 90 minutes later, she gets to the entrance. And I greet everyone as they come out, and I give them a hug and a blessing in their ear. And as she came towards me, she stood at the edge, and she straightened herself up, and she took a breath and said out loud what she'd been muttering. All things I am, can do, and be through Christ, the truth that is in me. All things I am, can do, and be through Christ, the truth that is in me. And we all started crying and weeping, because that was the prayer of faith, the power walk of faith that Marion did as an example for all of us. All of us who worried about her energy, her strength, her ability. She had that can-do spirit, that can-do power. Why? Because it was rooted in faith. Faith that said she could, it was possible. And she looked out there and she could have said, yeah, you're right, I'm not going to make it, but I really wanted to be part of this. I'll stop in a minute. No, she looked at those faces and said, all things I am can do and be through Christ, the truth that is in me. So we all headed back to the sanctuary, and our entire retreat changed for the week. I mean, that was it. She became our hero. We went back to the sanctuary, and people were journaling, and we were still in the silence, and just having their experience about what just happened. And there is a song in the Unity Wings of Song hymnal. I don't know if you know that we have a hymnal, but we did years ago have a book called The Wings of Song with kind of Methodist type hymns that had been transformed by New Thought words. And it's still very used in many Unity churches today because of the energy of the words. And there is a song in there. It's based on a poem. One of Myrtle Fillmore's, our co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore's, one of her favorite prayers. And it's the prayer of faith. And I got back to the sanctuary and I just had this yearning that I wanted to sing this song, but our musician for the retreat didn't know it. And I thought, well, I'm not going to sing it. I don't sing, apart from in the shower where no one can hear me. I'm not going to sing it, but I want to pay tribute to this woman for what she just demonstrated to us. And I thought, Paulette, come on. If Marion can walk that walk of faith and have the power walk, you can do this. And you can apologize after. So I too mirrored that posture I saw in the labyrinth. And I stood up tall and I sang a cappella, the prayer of faith. God is my help in every need. Don't worry, I'm not going to torture you with it today. God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me, guides my way through every moment of the day. I now am wise, I now am true, patient, kind, and loving too. All things I am can do and be through Christ the truth that lives in me. God is my health. I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing, quick. God is my all. I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. God is my strength. I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. There are examples in this for each of us. For this power walk of faith. One of the first things is to look beyond appearance. Faith calls us to look beyond appearance. Look beyond what we think the outcome will be. And that's not the message from Marion to us. That's for us to say, it may look like a long journey. It may look like something we can't overcome, that we don't feel equipped for, but let me tell you today, you are spiritually equipped for every challenge, every experience. You have the resource within you. You have the life, the love, the strength, the power within you to accomplish great things, even in the midst of trial and challenge. Why? Because you have a seed of faith. And to exercise that faith, you have to put it into motion. And one of the ways we do that is to look beyond appearance. We look up above the appearance, much like Jesus did when he was faced with the multitude and needed to feed them. And they brought him the 12 baskets and the 5 loaves of fish. No, the 12 baskets was after. They brought to him the fish and the loaves, and what was the first thing he did? He blessed it. He looked above the appearance of lack or limitation. He blessed what was in front of him, and it multiplied. So that's the key. Look beyond the appearance. Just a sidebar, I saw on Facebook this week that someone had a cartoon on there that if Jesus was to do that miracle now, sanitary department would be after him, and he'd have to have a permit for feeding outside. It makes sense. But anyway, we look above appearance, and we know when we look from that perspective that comes from a higher level of viewpoint, that we can see a way through where there seems to be no way. And we just keep moving and keep going. And for that, we need to stay optimistic. Stay optimistic. So what Marion did was encourage herself. She remembered this one line from a 4-stanza poem, and it kept her going. All things I am, can do, and be through Christ, the truth that lives in me. That became the walk, the power, the wind beneath her wings that led her forward. When we stay optimistic and declare the truth, it means we're expecting the best. I expect the best, I accept the best, I claim the best because I deserve the best. And I can keep moving, and I can attain what is mine to achieve, what is mine by divine right of consciousness. Because what we do is we go to that place of looking for someone to collude with us and tell us what we've been telling ourselves. No, it can't be done. My cousin Ruth tried that and it didn't work. And Johnny had one of those, and that's what happened to him. You know the ones, right? And I cried, you're like, oh, there, yeah, I know that must be really bad. Give up now, I would. No, you collude with those who see the strength that you are, who see and behold the Christ in you that you are. And you have to stay optimistic and declare the truth. In Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes says, to have faith in God is to follow this faith through by having faith in the self. To have faith in God is to follow this faith through by having faith in the self. All things I am, can do, and be through Christ the truth that is in me. And as you declare that truth, you are doing what? Feeding your faith so that your doubts will turn to dust. I didn't make that up, I wish I did. I was going through a challenge in my own life, wondering how I was going to make something possible. I was actually at the village that day when there was an amount that I was supposed to pay on a deposit, and it hadn't come yet, it hadn't arrived yet. And the date had arrived, but the income hadn't. And I was wondering, how will I make this happen? Is this going to happen? What will I do? And I got in my car and decided to drive in a different direction home. And as I was driving past this little Baptist church, there it was on the sign, feed your faith and your doubts will turn to dust. So declare the truth when you look up above those appearances that say it's not so, or it shouldn't be so, it couldn't be done. One of the other ways that we feed our faith, and I would say that, wouldn't I, is through prayer and meditation. It's not enough just to have a practice, you need to sustain a practice. It doesn't matter what that practice is. There are very many ways to meditate. That's what my radio show is about, offering various styles of meditation so that you find one and stick with it. And today you might be only able to do it for 5 minutes, but do it anyway. Don't make the excuse that I'll do it later, I don't have enough time for the full practice, so I can't do anything right now. I'm not in the mood, I don't feel good. I just don't believe it anymore. Get up and do something anyway. And it might be a walk. It might be, you don't have a labyrinth here, but you might go for a walk in the park or a walk in nature or a power walk. And let that be your meditation, because the objective is to move from your head to your heart. So keep moving, keep walking the walk of faith through prayer and meditation practice. The fifth unity principle says it's not enough to know the truth, we need to live the truth we know. That means walk the walk, walk the talk, okay? And allow others to support you. Marion wasn't open to support when she first arrived at Unity Village for this retreat. And as she looked back and saw that people were behind her by choice, not because she was in the way or because they wanted to be polite and not pass her, they were holding the space behind her. And she felt that. And she felt the perimeter around her filled with love, radiating that love into the labyrinth. She felt that support. She allowed it in. We need to do the same. Perhaps it's a prayer partner, or a coach, counselor, someone we can talk to, someone we can share with. Only yesterday I was speaking to someone on the phone who says, I just so admire you because I see how you live your life and you live these principles, and I wonder how I'm going to do it. And then if you go through a rocky place, I can just hold that and know that with you because I've seen you do, I've seen you move through, I've seen you experience, I've seen you express. But when it comes to me, I don't know how to do that for myself. I don't know how to tell myself what I tell you. And that's where a prayer partner, a coach, a counselor will help. Because they can see and behold, beyond any appearance, beyond any idea in your own mind, they can see the real you. Oh yeah, it shines through anyway. It shines through the cracks of that basket that you pull down on your head. They can see the real you and know, affirm, and hold the truth and support you as you continue your walk and get to that place where you are remembering again the truth of your being. I would like to share with you a daily word that's from 1963. Yes, I would. January 1963, it doesn't have a word, it just has an affirmation. I stand on the solid ground of faith. So I invite you for a moment to just stand on your feet. You can't really stand on your knees, so stand on your feet. And let's do a Marian stance. Let's plant our feet firmly on the ground and hold our shoulders back and our head up. And affirm together. I'll say it first and then we affirm it together. I stand on the solid ground of faith.
I stand on the solid ground of faith.
I stand together.
I stand on the solid ground of faith. I stand on the solid ground of faith.
Now let's do a Marian affirmation. All things I am.
All things I am.
Can do and be.
Can do and be.
Through Christ the truth.
Through Christ the truth.
That is in me.
That is in me.
Thank you. You may be seated. So this affirmation that goes with the daily word is as follows. I stand on the solid ground of faith. Circumstances may change, plans may be altered or interrupted. Life may take unexpected turns. Even so, we can remain calm and unshaken as we stand on the solid ground of faith. Beneath every outer change, the unchanging truth of God remains, stable, unvarying, undeviating. In God, nothing is ever lost. In God, there are always newness and life. In God, there are always power and strength with which to meet the experiences of life. In God, there are always the courage and the will to begin again. In spite of changing circumstances, let us hold to our faith. Let us say to ourselves, I stand on the solid ground of faith. With faith, we are sustained and strengthened. Faith in God enables us to meet every circumstance with courage. Faith in God enables us to lay hold of eternal ideas and transform grief or unhappiness into strength and understanding. That makes us aware of our spiritual power and reason for being. All things I am, can do, and be through Christ the truth that is in me. And so it is.